What would you say are the two most valuable lessons you've learned throughout your whole life so far?
One, for sure, one was from a teacher in eighth grade, ninth grade in high school. I don't know why she said this, but I don't even remember the context. But she said, "You teach best what you need to learn most." That has stuck with me for so long, and I've kind of built on that concept of the answers. The answers you need are in the problems you haven't solved yet. You teach best what you need to learn most. For me, I needed to learn how to validate myself. I needed to learn how to see value in myself when I saw myself as broken. I needed to learn how to, lift weights thinking that I couldn't. And now I teach people that stuff. That's my job. What I teach now is what I needed to learn most back then. And it's so crazy how the problem becomes a solution. And one of my talks, I said how I turned my health issues into wealth issues. And not just money, but in terms of what held you back is what can push you forward. And that's conceptually, I feel like a lot of people could benefit if they really looked at the problems they're facing right now. There are massive solutions within those problems that can take you to a new level of life if you look at them from a different perspective. The second lesson for me would be focus on what you can control. That concept has reduced my stress, has reduced my anxiety, has reduced so much unnecessary worry in my life. So many people are like, "Oh, Chris, is easier said than done." Absolutely, that's true, but it's better done than said. So that is a moot topic right there. If you focus on what you can control, you reduce the energy investment into things you can't. What if, what if, what if? What if I get fired? What happens if my partner leaves me? What happens if my business fails? What if, what if, what if? Okay, you can't control the what ifs. You can't control external circumstances. What I can control is my thoughts, my behaviors, my actions. I can create a plan. I can create an action set. I can do those things. That's what I can control. So when I stop focusing on living life in the back seat and take the driver's wheel of responsibility, and not just responsibility, but responsibility, the ability to respond to anything that happens to me, my life got a lot better. So now I choose to focus on what I can control and not what I can't.
Love that.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mhm.
Tell us about competing in the Rock's Titan Games.
So that was pretty crazy to compete in Titan Games with The Rock. Season one, they reached out to me. So hundreds of thousands of people applied to be on the show. I did not apply to be on the show. They reached out to me, and I thought it was fake. I almost didn't respond. I ended up getting on a video call with them. I'm really glad I responded. I got on a video call with them, and we talked, and it sounded like a cool idea. They were just building it out, but I was like, okay, whatever. I've been hit up for different things, and I just thought it was one of those things where people talk and nothing really happens. They're like, okay, we want to fly you out to LA, and you're going to compete against like 200 other people to potentially get a spot on this show. I'm like, I can lift heavyweight one time. That's my skill. So I'm like, these athletes are crazy. I went out to LA and competed. It was like a 3-day. It was so crazy. Like just so many different events, like 10 to 12 hours in a day, obstacle courses, strength tests, camera interview tests. It was pretty brutal. I'm not gonna lie. And some of these athletes were incredible. I was like, that was such a cool experience, but there's no way that's gonna happen. I got a call later and they were like, "Hey, out of those 200 people, we picked 30 guys and you're one of them." I was like, "What?" So I ended up getting on the show and they're like, "By the way, we picked 2 or 3 of those guys to be on all the billboards. You're one of them." So I was on all the billboards. I did that show. I got to meet The Rock multiple times and got to hug him after I lost my episode. And they shared my message after, which went viral all over the internet. And just understanding that just because you're different doesn't mean you're less abled. You're differently abled, and that's completely okay. So the fact that The Rock allowed me to share that and be on that show, that was a game changer for me.
Okay, so I want to switch gears a bit, and I want to ask you about what led you to write your book, The Upper Hand.
I feel like that book, I had been writing that book in my head for 10 plus years. You know, one, I love making dad jokes. So, like, the upper hand. I was like, this is perfect. Two, I was like, I've always wanted to gain the upper hand of situations. And it wasn't until I matured to understand that the only upper hand that matters is having the upper hand over yourself. And I was like, how do I gain the upper hand over myself? How do I gain the upper hand over a situation I have no control of? Well, you go back to that concept I discussed, focusing on what you can control. From there, I built 5 other concepts, and I built this book to help people simply navigate the struggles of life by internalizing things instead of blaming the outside world, giving you concepts that can help you do something about it. Focus on what you can control, that so you don't create cages around your lifestyle, and you learn how to navigate the true emotions and feelings so that you can have the upper hand always over a situation, even if it's unfavorable.
Where can people find the book?
So the book is on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and most people go through there, and it's a very easy read. Should take not too much time, maybe one day, most people have said. And it's something you could flip to any page and get value in. I've even created it in a way that you could only read the bold parts and get something from it. I know everyone is busy, but there is nothing more important than making sure mentally that your mental health is good and making sure you're living your life on your terms and not just falling in line with what you think should be done.
What's next for you?
So I love answering this question, I should say. I love what I'm doing right now. I absolutely love it. I want to speak for the rest of my life. I love speaking. I eventually want to help people become speakers, especially in minority groups and specific populations, so that we can create more leaders internally from the underserved communities, whether it's disability, race, gender, sex, anything like that. I would love to do that. That's my next goal, is to create that program. I am growing my protein bar business and we're expanding that, but in general, I'm doing exactly what I want to do, so I just want to keep doing it. It was so frustrating because I was chasing an idea of value, not understanding that I was value to begin with. A crumpled up $20 bill is still $20. It doesn't lose its value when it's beaten up. Unfortunately for me, if I didn't succeed in that specific venture, I thought I failed. And I've come to learn that there's a huge difference between failing and failure.